Would help if I added us all in. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Too busy trying to put the team up. But welcome everyone to the Rangers Rabble pre-match build-up for the game versus Ross County. We've got the lineups. We've got some chat about the game coming up. We've also got this before we do anything else. Gertid 1954 has become a YouTube member. Welcome, Gertid. This is you get all the extra content, you'll get the extra shows. I think there's obviously plans to go onto the website eventually, but Martin can update everyone on that. But for now, welcome. I hope you enjoy your membership. First membership show will be tomorrow, actually, the Sunday members show. So come and join us for that one. Everyone else, welcome. Hope you are all well and can like and subscribe the pod and tell your friends about the pod and everything else as we continue to grow and hit the next subscriber count that we are going for. I am joined by Graham and Craig. Graham, how are we doing?
All good, mate. I'm really looking forward to today's game. The game in midweek. It's got my excitement back, so I'm looking forward to it today.
Yeah, I think a few people feel like that. What about yourself, Craig?
All good, mate. Same as Graham. Wednesday night's got me all in a good mood for today, so hoping for some more goals and a good performance.
Perfect. Right, 28 minutes. This batter it. Let's get the team up. Let's get going. So, starting 11 today is John McLaughlin in goal. Back four of Tavernier, Goldson, Ben Davies, Borna Barisic, Jack and Lundstrom. Looks like Cantwell is the man just in front of those with Fashion and Kent, and then Morelos up top. Graham, what are your thoughts on that team? No Tillman. We will come to Raskin, of course, but Tillman is the one that drops out, and of course Alan McGregor as well. But what did you make? First thoughts?
First thoughts was it's a strong lineup, and it just shows the squad depth we've got now, especially with the added new signings of added squad depth, and they look strong. We're getting players back to full fitness, etc. So it's a strong lineup. Excited to see Cantwell start again. And hopefully more of the same from Kent Morelos, continue the form from midweek.
Yeah, I don't know, Curry. I've not been on the pod in a while. There's a few other things going on, so maybe I'm just out of kilter and I'm not quite with it. So apologies for that one. Shout out to Carson. Hello, Carson. Hope you're doing well. Please be quiet when the game's on, because, well, actually, no, don't be quiet. No, when we're on attacks, get up, go for it, Carson. You know, be yourself, go for it. So, Craig, yeah, I mean, do you echo sort of what Graham's saying there? You just, I mean, for me, it's a bit more just, let's just get out and see how we're going to do again, because obviously Wednesday's got the juices flowing. But was there any surprises for you in that team?
The only surprise maybe the goalkeeper changing. I didn't maybe expect. I thought McGregor might play again. I also thought, I spoke on Wednesday night after the Hearts game, that I thought maybe Cholak might have started today to give him some minutes, but I'm not surprised to see Alfie carrying on. Hopefully Cholak gets a bit more time than he got on Wednesday night. Not really any surprises. The one thing I will say is, obviously we'll come on to the bench, is that the bench is, for the first time in a long time, looking very, very strong. And the first 11 has been pretty strong for a while, with sort of the bench then being less so, but a very, very strong bench.
Yeah, and we'll go through the team a little bit then. Graham, obviously the back four, I don't think we need to touch on, because it's for once been staying the same recently, which is good to see. It's good to see Ben Davies and Goldson. I think both been, as that partnership solidifies, is getting really, really good. McLaughlin in goal. I mean, we've got this issue with the goalkeeper, we know that, but McGregor being dropped to the bench, I know Bill has said recently that he understands, he is his number one, but sometimes he's going to need a rest. We were talking in the chat about it a little bit. I mean, I know he's 41 now, but does a goalkeeper need a rest from Wednesday to Saturday, in your opinion?
I don't think a goalkeeper for Rangers needs the rest, but it just shows you the kind of the situation we're in goalkeeper wise, that it doesn't really bother me when Craig was saying there he was a wee bit worried about the drop in McGregor, but it doesn't really bother me because they're equally the same. They've caused the same problems all season, so I think you've got to keep both of them match fit. So it's not really a big worry for me, to be honest, mate. But it's good to see. It's good to see the defence being stable and getting a run of games, and we're looking strong that way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know how many other options we've got to come into the defence, to be honest. But it's good to see that the four that are there are a strong four as they are. So that's really good. Almost forced into sort of playing them together. Craig, what's your opinions on John McLaughlin coming in? I mean, one thing he does give us a little bit of is, I guess, I know he's put us under pressure with it sometimes, but the ball at the feet, maybe to start quick attacks if Ross County are overrunning the ball, you know McLaughlin come out and almost start that quick attack with the ball to his feet. Sometimes he will take a risk with his feet, which McGregor maybe doesn't do. Is that anything that you think might be in Bill's thoughts, or is it just simply a rest for McGregor?
I think it's a bit of this both. I think just thinking about that, yeah, I don't think it's a game where Ross County, like Wednesday night, we had a lot of the ball, but also we sort of played on the counter. We're not going to play on the counter today. We're going to have a lot more of the ball. Curry, it's more that I can't actually see the comments and see the screen without my glasses on, so I'll take the hit on wearing them. Normally I'll get the reflection, but I'd rather have that and be able to actually see what's being said. Yeah, it's just I think it's more just what Bill said a few weeks ago. It's taking the game as it comes and picking the keeper that he thinks is going to be the best. I would hope that any three of us could play in goal today and we'd sort of get by. I don't think we're really going to need the goalkeeper to be too busy, hopefully. But it's just more about having that quick turnover on the ball with McLaughlin playing.
I do just want to say that in the last 3 games, the guy that Craig has slagged off has either assisted or scored. So I'm actually worried that he's saying McLaughlin's going to be fine in goal today. So if anything happens, it's Craig's fault, just so you know. We've got a donation, Sophie Mitchell, £5. Wow, look at that. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the pod. So excited to keep the streak going. Looking forward to seeing Cantwell solidifying himself into that team. Yeah, it's one of the players I wanted to come on to. I mean, I think, you know, we can discuss a little bit Lundstrom in a minute, but you know, Sophie's put the donation in. Thank you very much. So let's go straight there then, Graham. Todd Cantwell, I mean, you know, we've only seen a snippet of him really so far, but all the signs point to like what a steal we've got here. And you never know how it's going to go long term. You know, these sort of silky players, they can go up and down, but you know, I know my he's texting me like, how good is this Cantwell? How have we got him so cheap and that? So I think he's one of these ones that certainly sort of put the bums on seats, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's great to have a player who has calibre in the team. He's settled in perfectly, to be honest. He's winning the ball high in their final third. Turnovers constantly. He's just so composed, so silky on the ball, and he's got also a wide range of passing as well. And I think he's going to be a great player for us, and I'm really excited to see him playing today. If I was being a wee bit picky, I was hoping maybe Kamara was maybe behind him as well, because I thought Kamara would be a good player for him as well, because players like that, they kind of on the same wavelength. But overall, I'm excited and buzzing to see Cantwell play today.
Yeah, Craig, and thank you so much, Sophie, for that. Just on that sort of Kamara dropping out, and I see someone saying they thought Tillman might be, was it Bryza said he thought Tillman would be a cert today. Bill has said about, you know, he's going to rotate the team and he wants a strong team so that he can rotate it in and out. And I think this is more talking about long term with European football to play for and things like this. But do you see this as a positive? I mean, it's good that we have these strong options now, but like Graham, I thought Kamara played very well the other night. Lundstrom, surprisingly, after I thought he's been off it for months, was superb the other night, and we know how good Jack can be if he can stay fit. So do you see it as a positive now that we can rotate players? Are you a fan of this rotation, or do you like to see it sort of, you know, if and when needed?
You want a settled team, but at the moment, we're not going to have any midweek games now. So if a player doesn't play, they're going to go 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks without playing. So they really need to have some game time each week. That's one benefit of having the 5 subs as well, that if we do need to bring off a Cantwell or bring on Raskin to get some minutes, we've got that ability with extra subs. If it's more necessity at the moment, so players aren't having 2-3 weeks without a game or any sort of game time to keep them. They are fit, but match fit is the key.
Yeah, I think sort of Kenny is sort of bringing up that point there. Actually, it's going to be difficult to rotate when playing once a week. But yeah, obviously trying to keep everyone match fit. 5 subs does help. Stuart Shaw, afternoon. Do you think the new guy? We're going to come to Raskin. We will come to Raskin. We're nearly there anyway. Just onto the sort of front line then, Graham. Talking about rotation, were you maybe surprised to see Fashion keep his place? I know BBC sort of gave man of the match the other night, and I love Fashion, but I thought he was maybe just a little bit off it on the Wednesday. Everyone played really well, and he did play well, but I thought as the standard across the board, he wasn't one of the top performers. So is it just that sort of absolute chaos ball that he brings is worth keeping him in?
Yeah, I think he was dropped or rested the other week there, so I think he had his rest. So I think I was expecting him to play. He's one of the players that he's going to work hard, cause problems for the team. It's just the kind of the technique and the decision making sometimes that lets him down. But hopefully he's in good form. So hopefully he continues that, and he's got. I can see how we link up with Morelos kind of happen as well. The two of them seem as if they got on well. He does his celebration and stuff like that. So it's good to see them getting on well, and hopefully they can link up today and get a couple of goals each.
Yes, yeah, 100%. That's a good point. Actually, they do seem to. It's the one guy Morelos doesn't seem to ever get angry at, but I don't think anyone can get angry at Fashion. To be fair, I think it's actually physically impossible. Except Scotty. Scotty on the pod can get very much angry at Fashion Sakala. Thought I'd give him a shout out for that. One man who can't be dropped in, Craig. Ryan Kent. New lease of life under Michael Beale. He's been fantastic, really. When you're on a wing, I know he switches positions now. I think that front three sort of all switch positions these days, but those types of players, you're always going to get some inconsistency. So we're not, he's not going to be a 10 every week. It's just great to see him, fit, firing, and we're going to come on to Morelos a little bit as well. But it's starting to feel like we've gone from a position of it's not going to be the end of the world if he goes on a free, but now we've got to get this guy tied down. Yeah,
I think the key for Kent is he's not now sort of having to hog that touchline like he was before. He's got a lot more freedom. The fact that you've got Barisic and Tavernier, who seem to be a lot more attacking since Beale's come back in, gives Kent the ability. I mean, the other night at times he was left, central, right side, up front, middle of the park. He was everywhere on Wednesday night, and I think that then causes chaos for the defence because they don't know what he's going to do. They don't know where Kent's going to go then next. For me, out of the two of them, Morelos and Kent, I would literally throw everything at Ryan Kent and get him to stay. Morelos, I'm still very much on the thinking that if he was to go, yes, it would be a loss, but we can replace Morelos, in my opinion. We can't replace Ryan Kent the way he's been playing the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh, that's a good topic to come to, and it's a good segue for this question as well. Is Cholak second choice now? I mean, Graham, would you agree with what Craig's saying there? Because, personally, and I haven't been saying it out loud because I didn't want everyone to jump down my throat. A couple of times I sort of threw it in there. I think Morelos has actually been quite good for the last few weeks now. He's not quite in shape yet. He's got a bit more fitness to get through, and I think he will get there. It's always going to be something we have to manage with Alfie. I think other professionals have said it on different podcasts that he's one of these guys that he looks at food and he puts a pound on. He's just always going to have that battle in his life. So whether that's on Rangers or Morelos himself or a bit of both for the nutrition side of things, he definitely has a bit more shape to get in. But in terms of Alfredo Morelos, I just don't see any other striker that gives you what he gives. He's not always on it, and he can be a bit petulant, but the sheer strength of him, you can fire a ball in from anywhere, it's going to stick. His link-up play is so good these days. It's like that little was it Kamara, the ball that's fired into him, and that little back heel through for Kamara for the goal the other week. It's just, I think the one downside is his shooting is erratic, and it's always going to be. But he is a big player for us, and I don't think it's going to be that easy to replace him.
No, it definitely won't be easy to replace him, especially how much he cost and then what he's done for us over the years. He's obviously the European top goal scorer for the club as well, so he's been a great servant. And it's good to see him just back to almost his best. When he came back into the squad, the starting lineup, rather, balls down the side, he was running for them, but you can see he was nowhere near them. But now he's getting on the end of them, he's getting under control and bringing players in, which is great to see. And just hope it can continue for now at the end of the season, and we can deal with the contract stuff at the end, whatever happens. But it's just good to see. I always love seeing him scoring, and I always feel like he performs better when he's got that kind of fire in him, a wee bit of anger, which I thought he had in midweek. So hopefully somebody winds him up before he goes out the day, and we get that reaction out of him, that performance again today.
Yeah, and Craig, I mean, we're about to come on to the subs, and I think it's the topic everyone wants to go on to for one player in particular. But just lastly on sort of Morelos and Kent, then, and I don't want to sort of open a can of worms 15 minutes before kickoff, but is there an argument that these two are coming back into form because their contracts are up and they're trying to put themselves in the shop window?
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. It's interesting, obviously now they're available to talk to other clubs. Suddenly their form has turned. Although I think Kent was starting to do that just before Christmas. He was starting to have some good run of form. Morelos is one because yes, he's been better the last few weeks, but he's always a couple of games away from going back to the way he was previously. So it's very quick, his sort of turnaround. I don't think Cholak necessarily is second choice, but I just don't think he's had an opportunity yet to play in Beale's team, apart from like half an hour against Leverkusen or whatever it was, and then a few minutes, half a game against Dundee United when he probably shouldn't have started. I think it'd be interesting to see when he does get back up to speed how the team adapt to maybe Cholak playing. But I'm not going to say that Morelos hasn't been good the last few weeks. I'm just hoping it continues, and if it continues, then Rangers are in a better position because we're winning games.
Yeah, so we're going to come to the bench. I just thought I'd have a quick look at it before I read it out. And I mean, there's one thing that strikes out to me more than Raskin. The subs: McGregor, Hadji. Great to see Hadji back. Cholak, Kamara, Sands, Wright, Raskin, Lowry, Tillman. So Graham, before we come on to Raskin, we've got 0 defenders on the bench apart from Sands, who can cover centre back. What's your opinion on that? I mean, I don't know if Adam Devine is picked up a knock. I see he was doing some bits at New Edmonton House today, so I only assume they're doing that when they picked up a knock. So it might just be that we've literally got no defenders, but could that be a little worry at all?
Yeah, that was one of the things I spotted straight away as well when I seen the lineup announced. I wonder if I think the B team are playing today at the training centre, so I believe maybe it'll be interesting to see if King and Devine are maybe playing. They've maybe decided it's better for them to get a 90 minutes under their belt. So it'll be interesting to see the lineup for that. But hopefully today we're at Ibrox against Ross County. We should be able to cover with James Sands at the cover for centre half and defensive midfield. I believe he could probably play right back as well if Tavernier got injured. But if we don't think like that, and we can just perform the way we do, and we shouldn't be really need any backups for the defence.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, minus having a goalkeeper on the bench, it's literally a Football Manager bench, isn't it? Like, just sack off all the defenders and goalkeepers and get as many attackers on there as you can. Paul saying, shout out to JJ. Yeah, Jonathan Johansson is back at the club. Of course, he did sniff out Alfie originally, so hopefully he can do the same this time. It's always good to use these links from coaching staff and scouting staff, especially when they do come from a country like Finland and things like that. Devine is doing the PR work with Arfield, yeah. So I thought that's he's not involved. So I'm assuming he's got a nick because I think he would be on the bench at least. Right, Craig, I'll put it off long enough. Not Larry. Nicolas Raskin is on the bench. He's got his clearance. I believe it was literally a bit of a signature on a sheet, basically from the Home Office to get it through. But they just had a sheer backlog of late transfers from deadline day, so it took a while to get the sign off for Raskin. He is signed off. He is in the team. Bit like Cantwell, we've got to remember that this guy hasn't played in a few weeks. I think Liège sort of bombed him out to their reserves when he wanted to leave. He was in the presser. I assume he's going to have some minutes at some point. He talks really well. He speaks up exactly. He didn't just give you those sort of snippets you want it. Like you want to hear. He didn't give those snippets that it seems that Rangers make them say. Oh, it's a big club with great history. He just said, I'm here to win things and I want to play in the Champions League and I want the atmosphere. All these things. So it was really good to hear him say stuff like that. He could be really, really important to us. What do you think the team's plan is today? Do you think there's just a plan to bring him on in general, or if it's tight, we won't risk him? What are you thinking?
I think Beale would like to give him some minutes, no matter what. That will the amount of minutes will depend on the game. If it's quite tight, maybe he comes on last 10 minutes just to shore things up. But if we're 3-4-0 up after an hour, then I would be expecting him to come on sort of for a good 30 minutes. Yes, he hasn't played a lot of football, but he was quite clear yesterday. I think he was quite clear that he would be happy to start if he was given the option. I don't think he would be sort of taking a step back and sort of saying, "Oh no, I'm not ready." I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. Just seeing him in the shirt the other night, it was like I told my girlfriend that I now have an extra love in my life because I was like, he's so pretty with wearing that blue shirt. But yeah, I just can't wait to see him, and hopefully he's as good as what looks like on obviously YouTube. But I'm just very excited to see the new lad playing.
Yeah, Paul's just saying. I mean, with the sort of work permit rules, Scotland is slightly different to England. There was, I think, after Brexit, there was like this big hoo-ha about Scotland getting the players that England can get because we can't sign for the nationals all the time. So Scotland was given a little bit of leeway in terms of this. So we still follow the point system. I think it's 80% of caps in the last 2 years for your country. Like you said, Paul, he doesn't even have a cap, so he can't have 80% of them. But Scotland does get a lot of leeway. You'll see this with Celtic. They've, I think all of the Japanese guys they've signed have about 7 caps between them. So it's nothing really to do with that. It goes on a point system. It goes on how they can improve the country and things like that. Raskin was literally a signature on the sheet. It was never going to be held up. I think they said as much. It was just literally the backlog of transfers that the Home Office had to deal with. But Graham, it was good to see Raskin say he was aware of this move even before January, and basically was, I mean, he's not going to say, it was the only one I didn't, I did want another move if it was possible. He's always going to say this is the one he wanted. But it was interesting to see how early he was aware of the interest, and maybe if other players that aren't at the club now, but maybe in the summer, may already be aware of further interest.
Yeah, it gives me a wee bit of hope that we are planning ahead the way he was talking like that. It's great to see any player that comes to the club and they pick us over English teams or kind of bigger league teams. It's great to see as well, and I'm just excited. I hope, I've said it for a while on the pods, the matchups and stuff like that I hope Rangers start getting the game finished, but for half time, and then we can get players like Cholak, Hadji, and Raskin on today for 25-30 minutes and stuff like that. I think that's the way the squad game needs to work. We are the superior team, especially at Ibrox. We need to start fast, get 2-3 up, and then we can start making changes and get young players playing as well, and make it a pure team game, and that's how we can move forward and get better.
Yep. Paul said he thinks I think it's is it a knee problem? I think Matonda's got. But he's another one that Beale has talked up. I think in the presser the other day he was saying that he was expecting Matondo to come in and give us what sort of fashion and Kent can give us as well. So he's not gonna downplay a player that young so early, I know, but it was interesting to see him speak like that. So on the bench then, Craig, we've also got Hadji, Kamara, Cholak. Like Graham said, you wanted to see the likes of Cholak and Kamara get minutes again as well. We've also got Lowry, who did get minutes the other night. Are you hoping Lowry's going to get some more minutes? Because, we just never know if Lowry comes on, he does well, and then he might disappear from a match squad altogether. You're seeing Tillman. It's not that Beale doesn't like creative players, because he's got Tillman, who's 1 year older maybe. So, we can argue all day over the reasons for it, but the fact that Lowry's had a few bench appearances in a row now, he obviously got on the other night. It's all sort of positive for the future in terms of, you can see that he's got a lot of competition in there. But if he's going to break through and it reminds me of those sort of Barry Ferguson days. I mean, like the players that Barry Ferguson had to come through with and get ahead of, it almost made him that top tier player, and it can do the same with Lowry.
Yeah, I think he'll get minutes hopefully today. I'll be very surprised if Tillman gets minutes. I think he's played quite a lot of football recently. I think the only way Tillman gets minutes for me is if the game's quite tight and we need some inspiration off the bench. And even then, there's obviously like players like Larry, Hadji that could come on instead. the 5 subs really is a benefit. So I would be very surprised if Larry doesn't get some minutes. Hopefully he's one of the first batch of subs that comes on. Ideally, you'd want him, Cholak, and maybe to relook at the bench. Him, Cholak, and Raskin maybe to come on would be the 3 after sort of an hour and see how they get on. But who knows? I'm not the manager.
Yeah, and Nicolas, as ever, sticking by Matondo. Wouldn't expect any less. Look, it might be that Bill does get. You never know. Another manager. I've always said about Matondo. He tested my patience, even though I was one of the last ones to keep sticking up for him. But what I say about him is he's so young. People forget how young he is, and you just don't know. He's obviously got that raw pace. If you can just take that, you can't teach pace. That's just something you have. So maybe we can still get something out of him, and who knows? We might all be sort of talking like Lindstrom in a couple of years, where we were like, I remember we wanted him out, and look how good he is now. So finally, we'll finish up then. We'll let you get away, get your beers, and get settled in for the match. Graham, can you please give me a score prediction and a first goal scorer, and everyone else in the chat? I know a few of you have already, so I'll try and bring them up. But lump in your scores and your first goal scorer predictions, please. Graham, shoot.
Today's the day I think we're going to get a big score, so I'm going to go 5-0, and I think Cantwell's going to score a screamer first.
Oh, look at this. Even giving you where he scored it from. Craig, what about yourself?
Well, I was going to go 5, so I'll change mine to 4-0. And I think that Connor Goldson will get the first one. A bit different.
See, jumping on some of these odds, because Cantwell 5-0 must be decent. Goldson 4-0 will definitely be decent, especially that 50p head. I will go with... I can't do the same, can I? I don't want to say they're going to score, so I've got 3-0, 6-0 to choose from, haven't I? Let's go 6-0. We're going 6-0. That's going to come back to bite me. Definitely. That's going to come back to bite me. Nicolas is saying 4-0 Alfie. John is saying 5-0 Morelos. Heather's saying 2-0 Fashion. Fashion's a good shout for first goal scorer. Much saying not getting carried away after one good performance, so it's a 5-0 from me. That's fair enough. Overhill 5-0 Sakala. Tom, good show, lads, from Tom. Thank you very much for joining us all the way from Adelaide, Tom. Fantastic to hear people all the way out there. I don't know what time it must be there. It must be like 3 a.m. or something there, isn't it? Jesus.
Probably about 1:45, mate, in the morning.
Oh, that's mental. Well, I imagine it's going to be the same sort of minutes as we've got here, just a different hour. 5-0 Sakala, we already said. 8-0 Alfie, first goal before 8 minutes. 4-0 Kent. 3-0 Buff. 4-0 Tav. We could do with a 6 to boost the goal difference, certainly. I was too at that comment. So we're going to get away because it's literally 2 minutes before kick-off, and I've still got to hope that my TV holds up for it. There's no half-time shows. We've sort of put them on hold for a little bit until we sort of figure out how to make it a little bit more viable. But do come back for the post-match. I'm not sure who's on. Are you two guys back on for post-match? Cool. Yeah. I don't know if we've got anyone else. We'll have to see. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the likes and everything else. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Join as a member. Thank you, Sophie, for the donation earlier. Really, really appreciated. Let's go Rangers, and hope we have a great result to come back and talk about. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.